officially kick off the proceedings. I'm Rushabh, I'm founder at Frappe, and very excited to be here. I have some gyan to give, but let me see. I've taken some notes in my bus ride. Probably you need, probably you don't. Firstly, we've always had Erp Next conference in 2014, first Erp Next conference, and it was always Erp Next, and I heard Frappe more times today than Erp Next. So that is a beginning. So I think our journey at Frappe has been from Erp Next to a developer platform. I think that is why we are here. I know a lot of folks here are for Erp Next. And I will request Mayank to do an impromptu Erp Next session for those who want. Maybe you can announce whenever you're doing that session. So if you're here especially for Erp Next, catch Mayank and Asif and Arushi and some of our functional experts. So yeah, really excited to kick off developer conference. My stated talk was engineering philosophy at Frappe. Maybe we are doing something right is, I can share you some thoughts that I have on what we do at Frappe and why we do. I think what we do well, like Mayank said, the first line of code was written in 2005. So this piece of software, the framework has been in works for 19 years. It's insane to think of it that way. I started programming myself when I was in 7th grade. That would be probably in 5th grade. So I was in 1990. So it's almost very ancient, 30 plus years of writing software. Self-learned programmer, so I'm not, I'm not taught. I'm in computer science. So that's my background, and what probably that gives me is this lack of fear that what is like. When people who have already learned programming come and start building products, they're very afraid of doing things because they know what is the right thing to do. Like for me, I don't know what is the right thing to do. So for me, everything is right as long as it works. Right? So 19 years standing here is just testimony that model also works. That you don't need to know everything. Kush ka rice pie like it. But as we grow up, we need to also we have to marry both good engineering and this fearless kind of thinking. What also we do at Frappe is we work mostly with freshers, like mostly or very few years of experience. And many years back on Hacker News, I had asked HN, there is this like, can you build a great company with average people, right? I got some responses, but I think after 15 years, I think the answer is probably yes, that you don't need like very high pedigree developers to build good products. I wouldn't say we make great products, but at least good products. We aspire to make great products, but and what I've seen is people who are very unlikely when they join Frappe, right? I mean, they probably have very little experience or no experience in writing code, end up doing amazing stuff. And this still perplexes me, and I'm sure all of us, that how we are able to pull it off, right? I think so there are some things that we do, again, knowingly, unknowingly in Frappe is, this idea of no fear is kind of caught on. Like if you're in Frappe, we always take the challenge, okay, like how hard can this be, right? I mean, so we never look at a problem and say, okay, maybe let's find out how other people do it. No, that's not the question. Usually we think from first principles and let's build it. Maybe it won't work the first time, maybe second time it'll work, maybe third time it'll work better, maybe fourth time without bugs. But that's the idea that kind of fearlessness is there in the team. I feel where we have the vision and the ambition to take on hard projects. Like we never settle for doing boring work, and no repetitive work. Like basically what I've also learned is every good programmer is extremely lazy. Like no good programmer wants to do grunt work. And I think we have a very good filter in Frappe for doing grunt work. Now, if you're doing grunt work, then maybe something is wrong. Maybe maybe there is a better way to do things, and that's the simple principle that we follow. Um, we are also very big on code ownership. This is something we learned over the years, is that the best way to manage engineering teams is to give ownership of code to the engineers. So if they are code owners, they own everything. They own the roadmap, they own the support, they own how to make it performant, scalable, everything, right? So we expect every Frappe engineer to be a full stack engineer, and not only an engineer but a product manager plus engineer. So that model works. You don't need product managers, you don't need other people specking out a product and some other people writing. They engage with the community directly, they engage with customers, they pretty much own their piece of code. And I think that gives people a lot of freedom to experiment new things, and their learning also accelerates, because they are not like, nobody is like doing some of the work for them and kind of doing it, right? Other than that, we also have this, we have something called open days where everybody presents. So every month all our engineers present something to the rest of the team. So that is a good feedback loop that everybody gets. And some of our very simple, I mean, what is good software is common sense. We spend a lot of time talking about software engineering, whereas I think most of it is just common sense. Like some things like you just solve one problem at a time, right? You don't solve 20 problems at a time. Just solve one, move to the next problem, move to the next problem. That's right. Don't write repetitive code. Write small functions. Your function should be readable in one screen. You shouldn't be wanting to scroll. If you're scrolling in one function, then that probably doesn't work. Good naming, exhaustive testing, right? I mean, this is common sense. If you don't think you shouldn't be teaching people how to write good code. I think people should have a sense of it. It's like when you see a good painting, this painting is good, right? If you're aspiring to be a painter, you should know what a good painting is, right? If you're aspiring to be a pianist, you should know what a good piece is. So, and then you should expect your engineers to also know what is good software. So once people have autonomy and they have feedback, then the rest is up to them. They're up to them to hone their craft. And when they are working in a team, they can easily hone craft from other people. So it's mostly very simple rules. We try and keep things real, keep giving honest feedback to the team, and then try and set very aspirational standards. We often talk about companies like Google and Apple, and we aspiring to be that. I mean, even today there is like a 0.001% chance we'll ever end up being there, but it's an aspirational goal, and it helps to have aspirational goals in life, I feel. I mean, why have aspirational goals, right? I mean, it's because, why climb a mountain, right? I mean, you could be happy not just climbing a mountain, but then there are things you're going to see when you climb a mountain that you're not going to see, if you don't take that effort or you don't set an aspirational goal for yourself. So I think that's another thing we have in Frappe, right? I mean, we are not afraid to have an aspirational goal, which we know probably we are going to fail at, right? And but still, I mean, however far we reach, the journey is going to be very exciting. It's going to be adventure. It's going to be, a lot of new revelations are going to happen. I'm sure 15 years ago we had no idea we would be running a developer event ever. So, these things you only discover if you are on this aspirational path. So that's my only other thought. Yeah, that's broad engineering philosophy, not too much yarn. And if you have a few questions on how we run engineering at Frappe, I can take a few of them now. Just want this to be a very interactive conference, and most of the talks are going to be that as well. So if anybody has any questions on how engineering management or engineering teams. Yeah, we use library management to train new freshers. We generally didn't train new freshers until very recently. In fact, even now we don't train, but we have a program where we first do library management as per the tutorial, and then we do a stock module. And the stock module has ledgers, so we have some slightly more complex use case. And it's, I think it's mostly self-learning. Yeah. It's a wiki, so you can go and edit. Yeah.
question here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, hi Rushabh, Abhinesh here. So Rushabh, how do you decide on building the new modules as what is that you are going to build in? So imagine that you have got few developers in your team. How do you decide, or is it a developer who decides that this looks to be a complementary to our solution, we are going to develop it, or is it something that is market driven?
I think every developer has their journey. I think initially people when they join, they probably don't have an idea what they want to do. So we put them, in one of our mature products, which is either ERP Next or Framework or Frappe Cloud now. So where you do mostly useful work because there is already some work that is created through support tickets and stuff like that. And then I think everybody later picks some liking to some stuff. There is also, again, after 3 or 4 years, I usually push people to build their own products or do something fresh. And the trigger is mostly something we need ourselves. So anything we want ourselves, we will build, right? Game plan which Faris started after. So Frappe Books was started. I think that was the first product we did after ERP Next after a long time. I think 10 years we did only ERP Next. The goal was to just survive and earn some money first. So once we had some extra revenue, first product we went into was books because again a lot of the feedback from ERP Next was that it is too complex. So we thought let's make a simpler ERP Next which has only accounting. So that was the first experiment. But after that we did game plan because we wanted a better internal communication tool. Then we built insights because we wanted better analytics for our own team. Most of the we built help desk. I think help desk was a different start because one of our team members thought help desk is a good market to explore in open source. So we went market driven for help desk. Interestingly, that didn't work very well. But now we have help desk changed 3 engineers in the last few months because we didn't do it for our own selves. But now we are doing help desk for our own self. I think we started using help desk only 6 months ago probably in Frappe. So now that's driven. CRM, we started that way. Drive is a very ambitious project where we want to move out of Google Drive. It's mostly things that we need. Frappe Cloud because we want to host so many instances of ERP Next.
Thanks.
How do you manage the UI UX process, especially when you said that engineers do the whole thinking, right? So isn't there some friction that caused especially when you are building consumer-facing apps that are there, insights or stuff like that, not ERP?
So I think a lot of our engineers are blessed with incredible sense of good design, and we now work with Timeless also, which is the agency. We've in fact invested in a design system where all the components are already pre-created. I think we should open source the design system as well. I think we'll do that. I think now that it's reached some kind of stability, we'll open source that. So we have a very good design system, and the whole idea of Frappe UI is again building these reusable building blocks for making the application. So again focus on extreme reuse and then go forward. But again it's we rely on the taste of the individual engineer. We look at other examples already in other Frappe products as a reference, and then maybe Faris can talk more during his talk. Cool, thanks. If there is no other question, I think we'll move on to the next. Last question.
Is there any plan to decouple the modules? If I install ERP, it comes with all the modules. But when I go to any customer, they want specific modules. So is a plain vanilla, if I consider plain vanilla, is there anything I can install only specific those modules only?
So you can switch out the roles. That's the easiest way. So don't assign a cert, and I think you can disable roles as well. So they are not even accidentally assigned. So if you don't want project management, disable project user, project manager. So you can do that.